Can you explain your previous medical condition, John?
My previous medical condition is I had a very, very bad right hip that probably should have been operated on 5 years ago. And my left hip was going bad very fast too. And I at first was only going to have my right hip done. But then as I began to progress after a couple of months and how much pain I was in on my left side too, and then they did x-rays and then they realized that my left hip was going fast. I was going to see a prolotherapist, a prolotherapist, and they take injections and put them in your hip, but I was going to that for about 8 months and I was getting no relief at all, and my other side wasn't either. So then I knew I was getting into a desperate situation where I needed to have it done soon because I couldn't sleep more than an hour every day and I couldn't walk very far.
Pertaining to your medical condition, what's been your experience with the U.S. healthcare system?
Very disappointed in the U.S. healthcare system. There are so many Americans without health care or have very little health care, and then if they do get health care, they get rejected after a period of time. And health care in America, it leaves a lot to be desired.
What were the medical options available to you in the U.S.?
There wasn't a whole lot because I wasn't insured. I was self-employed. I wasn't insured, and that's why it probably took me so long. I probably would have had to become almost destitute. I went to see a surgeon about a year ago, and he looked at my condition and told me I needed to lose weight, number one. But then he said that I needed to contact the government and told them I needed to be on disabilities. But to do that, you can't have a business and you can't have anything. You almost have to be destitute.
Can't have any income at all.
Right, no income at all.
How much have you spent on medical bills in the U.S.?
Oh, probably in the last year, maybe $3,000 or $4,000.
How did you come across MedJourneys?
I was watching a program on Nightline one night around January, and they were talking about medical things done overseas. And then I went online and started to look, and I tracked down AARP, AARP.
Yes.
And they had a thing in AARP about MedJourneys, and a couple of other places that you could actually go to too. So then we began to make a search, and I began to look around. And MedJourneys, for whatever reason, just was very appealing in a lot of things. And when I contacted them, Tim Wallace got back to me immediately, and then Jeff, Pierce. They were very attentive. They got back every time we had a question. They talked to us, you know, and gave us a lot of different options and different directions to go to.
So you considered going abroad pretty early, right?
Yes, because I figured that was going to be the only option that I could afford in any way.
Why did you zero in on India?
Well, when I talked to Tim, I was actually first looking at Costa Rica because it was a lot closer, and my wife had a little fear about going to India and stuff like that because of the culture and how long the flight was.
True.
And Costa Rica was a lot closer to where I live. But Tim said that some of the best surgeons in the world for hip replacements or joint replacements were in India. These were where the best doctors were. And I began to actually search that with my wife and from many other people that have had joint replacements and things like that. They said the Indian doctors are some of the top notch in the world.
Did you explain your level of service that you received from MedJourneys before you left the U.S.?
It was excellent. They answered all our questions and stuff like that. I was still very apprehensive. You know, I was having to go out of the United States and go to some place. I've never gone further east than Detroit, much less going to India.
So how long did it take for you to make a final decision that MedJourneys was the good company for you?
Took about a month.
Did you compare him with other medical facilitators?
Yes, I did. I was looking around, but just everything about MedJourneys just was more appealing.
Can you specify what differentiates them?
I guess the level of contact with the people and how fast they got back to me on the telephone, and when we had problems and things that, like say like a couple days beforehand. They got back to me and they figured out another solution for me too.
Very good. Was MedJourneys in contact with you via phone during your stay here?
Yes, a number of times, and so has, well, when you mean by MedJourneys back in New
USA,
York?
yes.
USA, MedJourneys, yeah. Jeff, I talked to Tim, but Jeff has always been on the phone with me.
Can you describe the quality of the hospital?
Hospital was top notch, you know. I can't, it looks like they have a lot of people that come in there. You know, they're busy. And I know from the operating room and all of that stuff, blew me away how modern it was and everything.
How did you find the accommodation of the Rehab House and the
Oh,
doctors?
the Rehab House is wonderful. People here are wonderful. My wife wanted to call and talk to Amarita. But I do want to talk about Prabha and Sanjay. They were in contact with me every day. Prabha was my main contact here in India, and she has helped me every step of the way, talked to me about all kinds of different things, different directions, and she was very concerned about what was happening to me, and Sanjay too, but Prabha mostly, because I just know that I would have been lost here without her.
Did you feel isolated from the outside world in any way?
Yeah, I did, but it was kind of a good thing in a way, because I felt like I was in a little pocket, and I was just really nervous because I had come by myself. My wife couldn't come for financial reasons and other reasons, and so, you know, in a big way, it was good.
Was the staff and the administrators and the doctors accommodating?
Yes, they were very attentive, very accommodating, and they want to help you. The doctors were amazing when I had my problem with my right hip after the operation itself, and they came in and they were constantly on top of the situation.
And what about your surgeon himself, Dr. Hegde?
Dr. Hegde, I don't even know where to begin with him. He was amazing. He walked me through a lot of things, because I was in trouble. And his assistant, Dr. Tarr, too, he's made house calls here because I've had a little bit of a problem with seepage, and he's taken time on a day off that he had for his child. I'm sorry.
Would you recommend MedJourneys in India to other people?
Yes, I would. I would cut the cost though. The flights are a long way, and I would consider doing almost first class on the way back, you know, and that's what I'm a little worried about too. But as far as Dr. Hegde and Dr. Turin, you know, they've been unbelievable. This is a level of care you will not find in the United States. They're right on top of everything, and they have, seems like, the best knowledge to me about everything too.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.